Hey guys, my name is Swrinny and today I'm going to talk about the elephant in a room, the DLC of the Fairy Tail game. In this video I will tell you about everything that is currently known and what we could expect from the DLC. That means that I will be addressing which DLC is currently available, what the DLC actually contains, what the pricing is like, what my concerns are, and what I'd advise to do. Also, at the end of the video I'm going to talk about the speculations for the future DLC, and your input will be very important for this, so please make sure to watch until the end. Honestly, I wanted to create this video last week when the DLC was actually released, but seeing as we barely had any information about its contents, I got in touch with Koei Tecmo and sent them a couple of questions. Now the good news is that I finally got a reply back, but the bad news is that they can't really disclose more than what has been made public so far. But still, that doesn't mean that we don't know anything, so let's dive into it. A little disclaimer before starting, I live in Europe and because of my regional settings I've only been able to view the pricing in euros, so I will be using that currency throughout the video. The full game and DLC price ratio however should still be the same. We'll start off with what has been released. First off, we have 3 costumes for each of the 16 playable characters, so 48 outfits in total. You can buy these either separately for €3.50 each, or in packs of 16 for €40 each. Now let's be real here. If you want to buy all 3 of these outfit packs, you're almost paying double the price of the base game. Honestly though, I normally don't mind the outfit DLC as a purely cosmetic, even if the price is relatively high, but the thing with Fairy Tail is that in the manga and anime, all characters go through a series of iconic outfits in the different story arcs, and these iconic outfits simply have been excluded from the base game. Some examples: the Grand Magic Games outfits. You know, the cool purple team outfits they had? Well, these are in the game, but they are only available through the digital deluxe edition. Then you've got the Tartarus story arc. The outfits you see here, they are just not there at all. I mean, Grey is naked, Erza has a Benizakura form, which she does actually have in the game, but if you look at Lucy, Wendy, Mary Jane, Gajeel, where are all those outfits? Also, after the 1-year time skip, Natsu arrives with longer hair and in my opinion, his coolest look so far. But in the game when this happened, he just looks normal and it has kind of ruined the impact of that scene for me. Also, if you look at the Japanese cover art for the game, these are really cool outfits, right? How can we unlock those? Well, we can't. And it's very weird to me that you would have these outfits on the game cover and not in the game at all. Now, if you look at what we have available in the base game, you see that all characters, apart from Erza, Lucy and Jalal for obvious story reasons, have 3 outfits. 1 default outfit, 1 swimsuit, and 1 alternative color. And that's it, there's nothing else you can unlock. Also, there's a bug currently in the game, or a really crappy feature, that if you wear an alternative outfit, the awakening character model doesn't show properly. I'll show you Wendy as an example. While wearing the Sky Sisters outfit, she only gets a little glow when entering Dragon Force, but with the default outfit equipped, she turns into a Super Saiyan 3. This problem is there for all Dragon Slayers and Grey, and I really hope they fix it at some point, because otherwise it doesn't seem worth it to buy outfits for these characters at all. I think it's really stupid that the outfits that should have been there during the story are just left out, and now some of them are even being added as DLC. I really hope they won't continue like this, because that is just a slap in the face of the fanbase. Now I'm not gonna lie though, but some DLC costumes look really good. Second, we have the big fish, the thing everyone keeps talking about, the Season Pass. The one pass that if you buy and own this, you get all Fairy Tail DLC. Well, apart from the 48 outfits, and perhaps there's even more you won't get. You know, I'm really not sure when this Season Pass hype started in video games, but I never liked it from the beginning. It kind of paints the illusion that you need to buy this as soon as possible in order to unlock the DLC, but if you look at other games, DLC included in the Season Pass can also be gotten separately. This is actually one of the questions I asked Koei Tecmo, but again, this isn't something they could confirm at this point. Now, what we do know is that it contains the following. On August 6th you get 5 growth Lacrima. These are equipable items that give your characters an XP boost from battles, so these are actually pretty pointless. I mean, in this game they did their best to minimalize the grind by adding link hunts, which will give you a ton of XP and materials, and it's something I'm actually really grateful for. With these link hunts you can max out your 16 characters in just a couple of hours in post game, And you can even combine grinding these levels with the S-rank quests that you're going to do in the post-game, so there's really no point to these Lacrima at all. On August 20th, Levi and Leon, and on September 3rd, Lisanna and Elfman will be added as playable characters. Now I wonder if these characters actually start at level 1 or are automatically scaled to what level your other characters are, just like the ones that you unlock throughout the game. Also on September 3rd, you will get a bunch of new 10 and 100 year quest missions. Now for those who haven't reached this stage in the game yet, after beating the story and epilogue chapter, you will unlock the 10 year quests. This is a series of 8 different and repeatable S-rank quests, where you can fight the bosses from the story at a higher level. After clearing all 8 of these, you unlock a series of 4 100-year quest missions, where you fight the dragon bosses from the Grand Magic Game story arc at a higher difficulty. Now nothing is known about the DLC version of these quests, but we can expect them to be at least the same difficulty. Finally, on September 17th, we get the most interesting thing that has been announced so far, a new dungeon named A Rift in Time and Space. Again, we don't know much about this other than an image of Igneel that has been shared on the official website. This season pass can be bought for €60, which is roughly the same price as the full base game. And honestly, if you look at what it currently contains and what information we have, it really doesn't seem worth it. You'd have to compare a 30-hour base game with 20 to 30 hours post-game to a DLC pass that merely contains a useless Lacrima set, merely 4 additional characters, some extra S-rank quests that are expected to not provide too much of a challenge, and a dungeon of which no information is known yet. There is no way that you can justify this to be the same price as a base game. However, while Koei Tecmo couldn't share more information on this yet, they did confirm that all public information on the website is correct and trustworthy. And what we can currently see on the website is a single line in the DLC description of the Season Pass. So chances are that we will get more included in the Season Pass, but it still begs the question whether it's worth paying the same price for it or not. I mean, if it's just going to be a few more characters and S-rank quests, I don't think so, but if they end up adding more story chapters in a similar fashion as they did to the Grand Magic games and Tartaros, then this could be worth getting. Just imagine them adding Alvarez, for example. That would be the dream. Now, what would I advise? Bear in mind that this doesn't just apply to the Fairy Tail game, but games in general and other products too. I think that as a consumer you need to know what you will actually get before spending money on it. And the developer and Koei Tecmo aren't doing a very good job at informing you of what this actually is. I mean, the outfits, they are pretty straightforward. But when you look at the Season Pass, they're expecting you to drop the price of a full game for a few DLC pieces and possibly more. That is such an ambiguous thing to say, because it can just mean that they release a few more characters later on, or add some S-rank quests, or, on a more positive note, add an entire story arc like Alvarez. And until they are more specific about what this is going to be, I would advise to not jump the gun and buy into it right away. Now, of course, how you spend your money is entirely up to you, but as you can see, even these DLC pieces have their own release dates, meaning that even if you buy it right now, you would still have to wait anyway. They are bound to release more information about the S-rank quest and the additional dungeon when that release gets closer, and it's at that point that you can make a conscious decision for yourself whether it's worth getting or not. Also, hopefully by that time we will be informed of any future DLC content they might be releasing. There is also a good chance that the content in the DLC pass will be sold separately. Now again, Koei Tecmo wasn't able to confirm this either, but developers and publishers tend to sell DLC included in season passes separately too, but at a higher price than what it would be when included in the season pass. As an example, you can just look at the outfit packs. If you buy an outfit pack at the price of €40, this is significantly cheaper than buying all 16 costumes at the price of €3.50. But at the same time, are you really going to use all 16 costumes? If you end up only using, let's say, 3 of them for your favorite characters, it's way better to buy those 3 outfits separately because it saves you a lot of money. This is similar for the season pass. If you don't care much for the DLC characters and are more interested in the dungeon, it may be worth just waiting for that and just buy the dungeon DLC instead of buying the whole season pass. But again, this is based on the assumption that all parts of the Season Pass DLC will be sold separately too. So, to summarize, there is a big chance that more information on the upcoming Season Pass DLC is going to be announced close to their individual release dates. My advice is to wait until that happens, so you can decide for yourself whether it's worth buying the DLC or not, or if it's better to just buy them separately, if they'll be sold separately, that is. So we've pretty much covered all we know so far, but with the knowledge of the fairy tale universe and what we've seen in the game so far, we can speculate a bit. Now I do have to warn you, some of the things I'm going to say can contain spoilers for those who aren't familiar with the fairy tale story outside of what the game covers. So I'm going to give those people 5 seconds to click away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now one thing I noticed is that there are definitely hints to the Alvarez arc being included in some shape or form. If you look at Sting for example, he unlocks a White Shadow Dragon Force during this game, and if I recall correctly, he first used this in his battle against Lacard of the Spriggan 12, which of course took place in the Alvarez arc. Second, we have Juvia. One of the last skills she unlocks in this game is Water Make Blood, with which she can sacrifice her own health in order to revive a party member. Now it could just be that the game desperately needed a third character that can revive others, but she did first use this skill in the Alvarez arc to save Grey. Third, let's talk about the playable characters. As you may know, a lot of the other guilds group up with Fairy Tail in order to fight the Alvarez Empire, and if you look at the characters we can currently play as, isn't it really weird how we can play Sharia for example, but not as Kana or other Fairy Tail members that used to get more screen time? Now in the Alvarez arc, Sharia joins up with Wendy for a very important fight. Similarly, we have a few guest characters which are pretty much playable characters that aren't playable yet, and will most likely be added as future DLC. The reason I say this is that they already have their character model and skills in the game, so it's relatively easy from a developer standpoint to turn these characters into playable ones, as opposed to creating a new character from scratch. But the guest characters we have include Leon, who will actually be playable soon as DLC, Altair and Minerva, who all play an important role in the Alvarez arc. Finally, one of the outfit DLC packs that we discussed, the final season pack, it already contains the outfits for the Alvarez arc. But even with this in mind, can we expect a full Alvarez Empire arc? I am not so sure about that. The story arcs in this game are pretty lengthy, contain a lot of dialogue, and the most important fights have some good cutscenes. Now to add a chapter like this that does the anime and manga justice is a huge undertaking. Will this make the Season Pass DLC price make a lot more sense? It definitely does. But that doesn't mean that they don't have any other ways of including the Spriggan 12 fights into the game. Remember when we talked about the 10 and 100 year quest? Those could contain the Spriggan 12 as new bosses potentially. Also, the dungeon A Rift in Time and Space? You would normally think of Aedelas when hearing that name, but the image of Igneel there is confusing. It could mean that you would be able to revisit other arcs, but it also means you might be able to jump into the future and experience some parts of the Alvarez Empire arc. Now I have to be honest, it has been a while since I've seen and read Fairy Tail, and I'm sure that I've missed a lot of things, so I'm really curious to what do you think? What kind of DLC updates do you think that we will get? Please let me know via the comments down below. Also, this is a gentle reminder that Koei Tecmo is still collecting feedback on the game. In the video description I have added a link to this feedback form, and I want to ask you again to fill us in too. This is the best way that we can provide our true thoughts on this game, the DLC, the pricing and what we wish for in the future. Now that is it for now. If more information will be released, you will surely hear from me again. So until then, I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time.
私のとっておきを見せてやろう。やれやれ、ほどほどにしてくれよ。俺の服どこ行った？やれやれ、ほどほどにしてくれよ。待て。